Hi everybody. A few people have been asking about the box-and-one defense that the Warriors threw at Trae Young. Gary Payton II talked about it a little bit after the game, and the Warriors definitely did throw a number of different defensive looks at Trae Young, and they ended up settling in mostly on this box-and-one. But it's not such a simple story to say that the Warriors threw the box-and-one at Trae Young and then he freaked out and couldn't handle it. It's a little more subtle than that. So it'll be good to just go through a few of the box-and-one plays and see how Atlanta actively tried to attack it and how the Warriors adjusted. There was a whole cat and mouse game. So let's pick this up in the fourth quarter when Trae Young comes back into the game. Four men here in a box, basically. So here's the box, and then here's the one. So Gary Payton is going to stay as close as he can to Trae Young, and then the others are going to defend everybody else in that box. So it'll be basically a 2-2 zone. The Hawks immediately attack this with a normal high pick and roll. We got the screen, we got the roller. Payton does try to stay with Trae, but Trae's got half a step on him, which forces Damion Lee to rotate to contain Trae, which leaves the man in Damion's zone over here open for a three. JTA tries to contest, but it's way too late. Luckily, there's a whistle on the play, and so this three will not count. I love Gary Payton II, like everybody else, but he does have a sort of disbelief every time he gets called for a foul. Like, what did I do? No matter how crazy the foul is. Let's go back. Trae Young takes the high screen, and that's enough to knock GP2 off of him, and then it's basically turning the zone into drop coverage on Trae, which is a bad idea because Trae is someone who's very happy to just dribble up to the drop and shoot over it. So this is already a weakness in box-and-one defense 1.0. So let's see what happens the next time. Back in the box-and-one, except can you see what's different about it? So here's most of the box. This corner of the box is way up higher this time. So the screen's gonna come again. Trae Young's gonna take the screen. GP2 is gonna have to wrestle with the screen. But now Damion Lee is way up, so he can challenge at the level of the screen. He's not gonna be in forced drop coverage. Damion is up, GP2 stays with Trae. So they're turning this into a soft trap. Trae is not expecting this, so he needs to get the ball to the rollers here. And so he tries a really beautiful behind the back pass, which goes to nobody because Collins zigged when he should have zagged. So Collins was rolling, and clearly Trae Young was expecting him to just stay spotted up over here. So this pass now goes off to the void, and it becomes a foot race between the nearest Hawk and Steph Curry. And Steph beats him to the ball. Back to this box, and one. A typical way that you attack a zone is to overload one of the zones. These two guys are going to screen that side of the box. This shooter's going to come up here and get a pass from Trae. There we go. Now that forces a lot of rotations. Damion has to leave this man. So in theory, something good can happen with Collins here. Pass to the corner. I don't know if it was meant to be some kind of give and go, but instead, the guy in the corner just says, hell with it, this counts as open. We're down 21. He just shoots it in Andre's face, and that's basketball. Sometimes you just score. Another way to attack the zone is just to attack before it can get set up. So of course the box has not been assembled yet. Trae Young just throws it all the way across the court. The quick ball movement forces the hard closeout to the corner, backs the closeout, and winds up for a truly gigantic dunk. Luckily for the Warriors, their center, Gary Payton II, is going to rotate over and try to block this thing. Bam! The whistle blows, and GP2 very quickly in disbelief formation. It's like, what? You called me for the foul? I can't believe this. Our shot blocking center, GP2, going up to try to stop this dunk, and he gets all arm. Yeah, okay, so I mean, I don't think it's legal to smack someone's elbow on a shot, so this is a foul. And I don't know why GP2 he lands outraged. I don't know why he's so outraged about it. See the Hawks throwing down two of the strategies at the same time. First is to attack real fast before the box can get set up. See, the box is looking pretty shabby right now. The second thing they do is they run this high pick and roll fast. So here's the pick. Trae takes the pick. And then this roller's gonna roll immediately into the paint, because if there's a box, so normally they're at the elbows and the low post, which means there should be a big fat space in the middle. And if you can get this big guy into the middle spot, then in theory the defense might panic and collapse. Who's supposed to cover that guy? It can definitely cause confusion. So here Trae comes in. As the big gets into the soft spot, it causes JTA to rotate off the low block, and so that leaves guy in the corner open for three. There's the throw. The pass is just a little bit off, and that gives just enough time for JTA to close out. That was a really good hustle. Remember, he was already contesting the guy in the middle, and he came all the way out to contest Damion Lee over here, trying to take on this big guy. But luckily JTA just ties up and they get into a whole big scrum. Turns into a jump ball and a technical for Juan for elbowing him. But good hustle there. This time the Warriors box looks a little bit better. We have Andre creeping up, because remember, the Warriors are doing now a modified box and one. The normal box and one was just turned into drop coverage by the high pick and roll. So now the Warriors are sending whoever's closest in the box to go up to the screen. They can contest the drive a lot more quickly and not give Trae Young space to shoot or to pass. So Andre Iguodala is coming up here in anticipation that this screen is coming and that Trae's going this way. But Trae sees it, so he says, okay, forget it. I'm just going to attack this way instead. There he goes. He goes with raw speed. The guy is really fast and talented. So he zips by, gets a step on GP2. That forces Damion Lee to rotate to him, which leaves this guy in the corner completely open. And it's a three. That's just a weakness in the box and one. Any kind of gimmick defense like this will eventually be figured out by an organized NBA team. Okay, here's another wrinkle. The Hawks try to do a quick pick and roll over here, attacking this corner of the box. So there's the entry, and going to be a pick. Someone taking the pick, and because of the formation of the zone, it's going to turn this into drop coverage of the pick and roll. So the ball handler should get a free shot. There's a screen, and he just pulls up and he gets an open, semi-open three. But I think the Warriors will take this because neither of these two guys is named Trae Young. Trae Young is just hanging out at midcourt here with his new best friend GP2, who won't leave him for love or money. And, you know, if the Hawks want to make a living getting threes off these quick pick and rolls, let them. At least Trae Young's not torturing them. So no matter what happens on this shot, the Warriors won. And it's a miss. And actually it's called a foul, but Andre disputes this heavily. This state of disbelief is definitely Andre's default expression in the last 4 years of his career, but he is extra upset and he is vigorously calling for a replay review and a challenge. You can feel the wind that he's creating with the force of his whirling finger. That's a lot of whirls. And Steve Kerr obliges with the challenge. And in fact, he wins the challenge. Here is the one, and then here's the box. Steph is pointing and he seems to be saying, Damion Lee, go up and be the guy to challenge this pick and roll. But Atlanta says, all right, you think you can handle the pick and roll, but what about the pick and roll? So what if there are two screens? So there's one screen, and now Damion Lee realizes that there's a second screen being set here. So he's here at the end of the screen. So at the end of all the shuffling, D. Lee is on Trae, GP2 switched on to 15, and nobody is on Bogdanovich. Trae Young knows something good's about to happen. He tries to pass, but he's so excited that the ball just flies out of his hands. I guess it's the new Wilson ball, you know? Damion Lee tries to get the ball. It's just a big scramble. And then I think Trae ends up touching the ball again. And that's a travel. You can't do that. Atlanta still putting together new ideas. Here, the screen is coming all the way up to half court. So that's one change, because it would be silly for the Warriors to send their extra box corner all the way to half court, right? So they're definitely not prepared for the screen to be set at half court. The second thing is this big guy is going to slip right into the soft spot in the middle. This box has definitely gotten out of shape. because these two guys feel threatened by this pick and roll happening up here. They want to be ready to challenge whichever way Trae Young ends up taking the screen. And so that makes this soft spot in the center really big. And Trae comes in, and there's the big. Finally, it's the promised land. He's in the soft spot. Draymond comes over to challenge him, and he's going to try to do one step and dunk it, and Draymond stops it at the cost of a foul. Okay, for the next two plays, the Hawks just go completely away from Trae Young. So, like I said, the Warriors will consider that a victory no matter how the play turns out. This play is another play where the Hawks go away from Trae. I'm not even going to diagram the play, but it's interesting to watch GP2 and Trae together. GP2 really has no regard for personal space here. He's just in Trae's face, and Trae just starts pushing him away. You see Trae kind of takes a whack at his arm, says, "Get off me, man. I'm not even in the play, all right?" And then Trae does something slightly funny here. He goes in close. He said, "Fine, you're going to be that pansy with me. I'm going to come in and hug you." And then he puts his arm underneath Gary Payton's arm. And so he does this little hook and tries to get a foul called on GP2 for being too handsy with him. GP2 is trying to just keep his arms up and say, "Hey, I am an innocent man." And Trae's here continuing to try to hook him. And the play finally ends. This is one of the funnier sequences. So GP2 is still completely in Trae's personal space. He's putting his head into his chest. You know, the play hasn't even started. So GP2 is just really taking seriously this whole thing that he's gonna track Trae Young everywhere. And so he doesn't even realize he's fouled out. Finally, the ref comes up and says, "Excuse me, sir, you have 6 fouls and you can't stay in the game." And GP2 is going to turn to him and say, "What? That foul was on me?" You can lip read that real clear. It's like, "On me?" And he walks off to a standing ovation.